Namaste friends. In this video we are going to discuss on rule of law, democratic values and norms. Let's discuss with rule of law. Rule of law is refers to the democratic governance system that is based on law equally applicable to all. I put here one quotation of Aristotle. He said, rule of law is better than rule of man. Evidences three basic characteristics of rule of law: supremacy of law, equality before law, constitution is result of common law. To understand the rule of law, we can make contrast rule of law with rule by law. The rule of law promotes fairness, justice and accountability, while rule by law merely emphasizes the authority and power of governing body. In rule of law, law is superior above all. In rule by law, ruler is superior than the law. While discussing development of rule of law, many of us always begin with Magna Carta. But before Magna Carta, in our Eastern civilization, there was rule of dharma in Hindu ruling system. Even king is under the law of God. He had to need to self-control. While talking Magna Carta, it says, to no one will be sell, to no one will be deny or delay right or justice. Chief Justice Coke's verdict on Bonham case was landmark decision regarding judicial review on the Parliament enacted law in UK. Petition of right incorporated due process of law, habeas corpus, prohibition of martial law in peacetime. In Bill of Rights, there was right of speech, fair trial, prohibition of excessive bail or fine. In the development of rule of law, we should never forget Montesquieu and his book Spirit of Law. In his book, he described the separation of power. As a complementary theory of separation of power, John Adams developed theory of check and balance. The American Declaration of Independence 1776, which is based on the value of life, liberty and pursuit of happiness. Similarly, in French Revolution, Declaration of Right of Man and the Citizen of 1789, there was value of liberty, equality and fraternity. While talking the judicial review in United States, the landmark case was Marbury versus Madison case. And finally, we shouldn't forget the gentleman Evidences and his book Law of Constitution, which described thoroughly about rule of law. Let's talk democratic value and norms. Democracy is ruling system where people rules for themselves. As Abraham Lincoln famously quoted, democracy is the government of the people, by the people, and for the people. Democracy is a timeless tale of governance, unfolds a captivating narrative where the voices of the people, like a vibrant ink on parchment, inscribed a tale of liberty, equality, and shared decision-making, weaving a tapestry of collective empowerment and self-rule. Whatever we say element, characteristic, or prerequisite of rule of law, democracy, these are the common points like constitutionalism, supremacy of law, limited government, sovereignty and state authority vested on people, adult franchise and periodic election, independent judiciary and power to judicial review, embrace democratic value and norm, predictability, complete press freedom, protection and promotion of human rights and fundamental rights, separation of power and check and balance. This could be the element, characteristic or prerequisite of rule of law or democracy or constitutionalism, soever. Let's talk about practice of rule of law and democracy in Nepal. Democratic Revolution of 2007 BS overthrew the Rana regime. In his famous speech of 2007 Phagun 7, King Tribhuvan vowed that Nepal will be ruled by a republican constitution made by Constituent Assembly. But neither King Tirubhuvan nor his successor even facilitated to hold the election of Constituent Assembly in the country. That's why King's position was always above the constitution promulgated from 2007 BS to 2047 BS. That's why those constitution that was rule by law, not rule of law. Interim Constitution of Nepal 2063 was genuinely the supreme law of the land, which was supreme over rulers. Constitution of Nepal, the present constitution, incorporated rule of law and democracy in its preamble. Constitution of Nepal carries basic features of rule of law and democracy like periodic election, separation of power, independent judiciary with the power of judicial review, etc. What is the problem of rule of law and democratic governing system in Nepal? First one is impunity. Only 39% court verdicts are implemented as per the 15th plan data. Cephocracy, that is the periodic election is just being formal. Only elite can compete in the election. As we know, seasonal politician Hridesh Tripathi was beaten by Vinod Chaudhary, the multi-billionaire. Next one is corruption. Report of Transparency International always shows the poor status of Nepal. While recording the video this year, Nepal's position is 110th out of 180. Delayed justice. It takes several years to finalize one decision in the court. That's why delayed justice is also said no justice as well. And red tapeism in service delivery. Syndicate of largest parties. 3 people, Deubak, Oli and Parsanda meet one room and decide everything. And our parliament is like rubber stamp of approving their decision. Next one is political instability, politicization of crime and criminalization of politics. For example, the Resham Chaudhary case, unconstitutional house dissolution, non-ratification of the bill by president, which was passed two times from parliament, rule of ordinance, political interference over judiciary. For example, Attorney General, Member of Parliament, which are explicitly political position, and those people are now sitting judge in our Supreme Court. These are the problem of rule of law in Nepal and problem of democratic values as well. Finally, we come to conclusion. The rule of law and democracy intertwined in a profound connection akin to dance of principles. Democracy's essence flourishes when the rule of law stands as its steadfast guardian, nurturing the delicate balance between freedom and order. Together, they weave a tapestry of governance where fairness and equality are the thread that bind the fabric of flourishing society. With this, we come to end of our discussion. Feel free to comment and take part in discussion. If you haven't subscribed my channel, please subscribe it. Thank you.